What's going on, everybody? We are having a little technical difficulties. Whenever you get two boomer men who used to be in a country cover band, there's just lots of problems that's going on. What's going on, man? Michael, thank you so much for coming and doing this, man. It's such a pleasure. We're a huge fan. You're basically the reason that I started making reaction videos.
Is that true?
Yes. And
Well, dude, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it. Like I said off air, I'm happy to be on this end of it.
It's like I've never been interviewed as a YouTuber before, right? So
Yeah.
So how long, in comparison to how long of a guitar player, how long have you been what you would consider like a content creator or a YouTuber or whatever you want to call it?
So I went I went all in on online education in 2013-ish. And I started making YouTube videos, but I probably made maybe 500 or so before I ever had one pop. And so I was, I've been making content, if you will, educational content since 2013.
Yeah, you were a super. We finally got Chucky D in here. What's up, Chucky D? Using that
Chuck, you there, man? You there?
Yeah, it finally happened.
Using that iMac camera because we can't get the regular cameras to work.
I've got a very expensive phone sitting right on top of this, like when you would buy a new TV and set it on top of your console TV.
Right on. I see some people I know. Dizzy Dad, Mr. Tonic's in here. Coulter Kid. How y'all doing?
Yeah, we so you were an early adopter to the internet, right? So
In a sense.
as a musician was not. I feel like I'm way behind the curve on a lot of things. But what do you feel like the future is going to be for the music? Is there anything that's out there that you're trying to get into that may seem new to a lot of people?
You mean as far as like the whole internet game is concerned?
Yes.
I whenever this subject comes up, I always have to remind people that when I started, and again, I chose education. I wasn't trying to promote like original music or anything like that because I fell in love with teaching and I saw early adopters, like true early adopters, like Marty Schwartz and Justin Sanderco and folks like that, start to make a living teaching on the internet, with their instrument. So when I started in 2013, I guess I started thinking about it in 2011. I thought I was late, and I had no idea how early it really was. I mean,
Right.
we weren't recording stuff on this. We weren't live streaming. Influencer wasn't a word. Instagram wasn't a thing. Facebook didn't have ads. None of this shit, right?
Yeah.
And I want everybody to know that it's still the very beginning. It's I've been a part of it for, I guess, the past 9, almost 10 years now, and I've seen it accelerate and transform. But I will say that in my industry, as far as on the educational side, it really took the pandemic to have like online education, like music education, become wildly adopted direct to consumer.
Yeah.
And to have all the stigma removed. Like now everybody's got a subscription to something. Whatever it is, they support some content creator, they take yoga from one person, they do whatever. Man, that is brand spanking new.
Right.
That really took the past 2.5 years or so, however long we've been in this pandemic, for that officially to be a legitimate industry that you and I or anybody could dive head into. So for anybody listening out there, the point of all this is really just the beginning. I mean, you're talking less than 10 years of monetized content on the internet in its current form. So it's going to go everywhere is my point.
I feel like I do this all the time with musician friends. I beg them to get in the YouTube game.
Yeah.
I'm like, what I do is the easiest thing in the world. I listen to music and I say some shit about it. That is like literally it. Do you find yourself begging friends or pushing people in the music world to get involved into making this kind of content? Or is this something that is, there's not maybe as many educators in the guitar world? I just feel like because
there's
what
so
we
many.
do is very different than what you do. So you do so much guitar teaching, but
Yeah.
you also do a lot of what we do, which is like talking about the emotions of a song, what a
Sure.
song makes you feel.
Sure.
But do you encourage people to get into this game a lot?
Hell yeah, I do. You know, I try to tell people all the time that, like, the internet changed my life, man.
Yes.
And it can change yours too. And the first comment most people say is, well, wouldn't we be competition? And the answer, of course, is no. You're only your own competition.
Yeah.
My good friend Tim Pierce always says, you always end up with the audience you're meant to have. You're not really stealing anybody else's. Just like they can buy a Pearl Jam record and they can also buy a Wyclef record and they can also buy a Willie Nelson record. It's not like you can only have one record.
Right.
Yeah, I try to tell everybody that will listen, when it comes up, a little of my story, mine's a little different in the sense that my whole thing is based around education, and the first 5 years or so were really a struggle. I mean,
Yeah.
it's taken a decade, truly, to get to a point now where I don't have to gig, I don't have to teach. I have 4 kids and I support all of them teaching guitar on the internet. Like, that's an awesome thing to say, but that was not easy. It did not happen quickly.
Man, let's just sit on that a moment. Like, how insane is that? How ridiculous is that?
Well, see, that's the point I was trying to make before about how much in its infancy it is. That sentence was not something you could say.
Nobody could say that.
When my first child was born, right? And he's in 5th grade. That was not a thing. And it really wasn't that much of a thing when my second child was born, and he's in 2nd grade. It's brand spanking new. And so anybody out there that's thinking about getting in the game, whether it's music or whether it's fitness or whether it's cooking or you want to, whatever it is, I mean, just begin. You will thank your younger self 5 years from now.
Speaking of our audience, let's just go on ahead. These people gonna be pissed off if I don't say their name while Mr. Guitargate himself is here.
I'll crack a beer for you.
Crack a beer. By the way, what are you sipping on there, Mr. Palmisano?
Just a straight up Budweiser, dude.
Come on now.
Red Label, Bud Heavy.
See, I'm actually sick today, and
so you got to keep it light.
Come down with a cold, and I was planning on getting like high dollar cold daddies. Having you here tonight, but I was just like, I can't be drinking an expensive beer, wasting an expensive beer while I'm sick.
Yeah. So we had my grandmother over for Mother's Day not too long ago, and she drinks Manhattans, and if she'll drink a beer, because when she wants to switch, she'll only drink the regular Budweiser. So I had a 30 of Bud Diesel in my fridge, and so that's why I made it here.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
So we got LaPage here. We got LTD, Cyber, Brent, Benjamin. The Godfather was here.
Senor.
Who else we got?
Benjamin, how you doing, man?
All of your folks seem to be here that I don't tend to know. By the way, if all of Mr. Palmisano's folks, we make similar content. It's just I come at it from a songwriter's perspective, and not necessarily a guitar teacher's perspective.
Sure.
And so if you like country and Americana music, then you can check out what we're doing.
Please do.
I really want to talk about the power of online music community.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so new to this. You've been doing this for such a longer amount of time than I have. I try to tell my wife how like I don't even need friends because I have like friends on the internet.
But you don't say it like that. When
I
you tell her.
do.
You're like, I don't need no friends. That's why she gets upset about it.
And she's like, let's plan this double date with these people I don't really like that much, or let's go do these things. And the people that I've met through our online music community have become some of my closest friends. We just did our first ever meetup, like in person in Oklahoma a couple of weeks ago.
Is that where you are, both of you, by the way?
We're in Mississippi.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so it's really changed my life, and it's really made such a positive impact on my life, mainly on days that I don't want to make anything. I don't want to write a song. I don't want to make a video. I'll go read a comment in our community and I'll be like, let's do it.
Yeah.
And so how has that been to you? What kind of impact has that had on you?
Yeah, we're sharing all the same things. It's been tremendous. I think that the same thing is when you're in person, like good people know good people that know good music, know more good music. And like, we used to all just sit around and hang out and drink a beer. And like, if you like this, you'll like this. If you like this, you'll like this. And you're kind of doing that at scale.
Right.
And there's something about the music in general, especially, the stories within the music that resonate within the people where, if you feel really, really strongly about this one artist or this one piece or this one performance or whatever, and someone else does, you feel like you know more about that person than you otherwise would. Like there's an undercurrent there that you both acknowledge and appreciate, and it allows you to communicate on a deep level. And I can tell you that, like, from my wife's perspective, like when we go, and I'm sure this happens to you guys, like when we go out to shows and we run into people that are part of the community, we'll talk and we'll take pictures and we'll chat about, whatever song, this, that, and the other. And she'll say to me, she's like, they're like all the same. They're like, how do you find so many of your same people?
Yeah.
Like, how do you guys all fucking find each other?
There's a type.
There's a type, right? And then she's like, and they all feel like they really, really know you. And when they ask something about something in the video, which obviously happened between like minute 18 and 1850, you remember it and you talk about it, and it's like it means something. And you guys have never met before, and it happens everywhere we go. And I'm like, I told you, like, these are real people on the other end,
Mhm.
And so it's meant the entire world to me, man. It's the best thing ever. And from a player's perspective, or for just someone who's creative in general, who struggles constantly with, am I doing the right thing? Am I putting my efforts in the right place? Am I, I think this is crap. I'm going to hit upload anyway. If it blank, 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 blank. As much as we don't like to acknowledge it, like, we need pretty regular affirmation that we're doing the right thing with our lives and that it's noticed, it's appreciated. Like, we just kind of do, and like you said, the real good stuff tends to come on the days you don't expect it, when you're having a bad day. And some of the best videos I've ever done have been things that have just, I happen to go through and get lucky on an email, and someone tells me this incredible story and sends me a song with it or something, and I just listen to it and post it, something I would never expect. Those are the things that just, you sit back and you're just like, man, I'm so glad I'm doing this with my life. It just feels so right. There's so many constant reminders that it's correct,
Yeah. And so you mentioned talking about not knowing the right thing to do. And this might get real deep real quick, but I
live at
really
the bottom of the ocean, man.
Let's go. So one of the hardest things for me with this whole YouTube game is that I've been a songwriter for over 20 years, right? I've been writing since I was 15. I've been doing the music thing for a while. And there are some days where I'm like, man, this YouTube thing is incredible. This is amazing, etc. And then some days I'm like, well, shouldn't I just be trying to be a songwriter? How do you ever get bothered, or do you ever get down on yourself sometime for being known as the YouTube guy and not a guitar player?
No. And I'll tell you why. The analogy that I like to make is virtuosity, for lack of a better word, in the guitar world needs a vehicle. And what separates your incredible guitar players that'll just melt your brain, and your Eddie Van Halens of the world that make an incredible dent to people that don't play an instrument, right, is the songs. So when I think about this, I think about how players like that who could be virtuosic throughout the entire performance and just be these guitar gods chose to package themselves in a vehicle that could allow them to be transported everywhere.
Yeah.
And I look at YouTube and the internet as the same way. I know that the reason how do I put this? I know that playing the YouTube game puts me everywhere.
Yeah.
And once people start watching the videos, then they get to meet me and get to know me for who I am. And then if they want more, there's more there, right? But you have to put yourself in a vehicle. You have to play the game that's there to play in your era when you lived, like wherever you are. It's just kind of the way it is. And so no, it doesn't bother me. I completely and wholeheartedly embrace it.
You're a better man than me, Mr. Palmisano.
How about this for vehicles? I got a deeper question. We're going to go real deep.
Hit me.
You're going to have to sell me on jam bands.
Okay,
give me the pitch, man. Let me know why I should be into jam bands, because I just don't get it. I don't get it.
Let's just now. All of your folks gonna come over here with pitchforks.
But look, I'm here to learn. I am here to learn for sure.
I have never really gotten it either, and I know you are big in the jam band world. But help a songwriter who loves a 3.5-minute song. Why should I really give jam bands a shot?
Okay, so there's a couple things here. Number one, I was not into jam bands for the first 29 years of my life.
We got time.
Okay. So this is a somewhat recent occurrence, and I will simply say, things find you when you're ready to be found, right? To answer your question, though, we'll narrow in on the Grateful Dead because this will harken back to the conversation we just had.
Yeah.
The one thing the Grateful Dead had that basically all the other jam bands don't, the reason that they're different is they have great fucking songs. Okay? And if you've never, like, as a songwriter, if you've never done like a real deep dive into forget about the actual instrumentation. If you've ever done a deep dive on Robert Hunter's writing, you will immediately recognize his greatness. If you didn't know, so the Grateful Dead, like, they did not do their own lyrics, right? They put the music and worked with mainly Robert Hunter. His songs are tremendous. For me, it took me so long to get into jam bands, because I never really gotten touched by the song. It never hit me. I never found it. but it eventually did. Robert Hunter eventually spoke to me. With that being said, as a guitar player who's always been in working bands and really tried to hone his craft, the long noodly jam stuff was really one of the main things that kept me away from it. You know?
Yeah.
That isn't something that I still to this day. I mean, I really don't. I really don't. You know, I appreciate it. I appreciate the onstage communication as a player, but for me, like, it needs to be anchored in a song. So all I'll say is I'm not going to be able to sell you, but start with Broke Down Palace. Just listen to the song Broke Down Palace. Listen to the lyrics. Listen to Robert Hunter speak to you. As a songwriter, I think you'll immediately get it. Well, and we can talk about everything else after that.
I will say that most of the time, the worst local bands are the jam bands.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so this will ruffle people's feathers, but you're right. You're
most 100%. Of the time.
You're 100% right. The generally speaking, you know, if there's a genre of local bands that is just at the bottom of the talent totem pole, jam bands are usually right there.
I don't know why they think that they're like, this is the genre I want, the one that has the incredible musicianship that plays 10-minute songs.
I don't have the answer to that. So it's a really fascinating phenomenon.
Yeah.
All I can tell you is that I didn't get it forever until I really started listening to Robert Hunter's songs. And then it spoke to me when I needed to hear it. And then it all just kind of came out of that. But the vast majority of quote unquote long form jams, whether it's Fish or Panic or whatever it is, doesn't keep my attention.
So let's make a distinction though between the and I think you can relate to this. Let's hear about like the one night stand, the 4-hour night musicians or 5 hours a night musicians who are taking those 16 bars because they gotta burn minutes. Like I relate to that so much more than jam bands. Of like, there's been times when I've had 16 bars and I don't even know 16 bars worth of songs, music in total. But I've been given that much to solo just because it's like, we got to do something, man. We're up here for 5 hours.
You got to stretch it out. Yeah. I mean, that was another thing. Like when so I grew up a metalhead. I grew up like a total heavy, angst ridden teenager. Like that was my thing. Like there was forever. And I remember like the first time someone, even took me to a show or whatever. And I was like, what the fuck's a set break? I was like, I've never seen a band take it. What do you mean there's 2 parts to the show? And everybody like leaves and comes back and like, what are you doing with all the energy? Like, what are we doing here? Yeah. Like, I was like, this is the most passive thing I've ever seen. So anyway, the answer for me is the songs of Robert Hunter, and then expanding from that. There's a couple bands in particular and a couple tunes that really speak to me, and there's some great players. But I think you've noticed in my channel, like we're outside of jam bands, whatever. Like the song is always the common denominator. I'm always, if there's not a story there that I can connect to, like to a person, I generally just forget it. So you can be the best guitar player, musician, or everything in the world, and I can appreciate all that, and I love stretching it out and jamming with people. But at the end of the day, like what moves me is something going to be stuck in my head in the car on the way home, right? Yeah. It's something going to hook me, and so I'm always looking for the song, and Robert Hunter's Dead songs are really the only ones in that genre that have really, touched me and changed my life profoundly.
Best cover band story. So Chuck and I both we played in cover bands for a long time. We did that world. I know you've done that world. What's your best experience? Doesn't have to be musical.
Okay.
What's your best go-to story? Chuck, you got any good ones?
I mean, I've told most of yours, but I do like the time that we ran out of gas hauling a trailer a mile from the exit, and I had to run with a whatever that Canadian dry ginger ale, a 2-liter bottle of that I found on the road, fill it up with gas and pour it into the gas tank of the truck. Some real redneck shit there.
Dude. All right, I got one for you. So we used to play a lot of weddings and
where the real money is.
Had to, man. Had to. And so when you play weddings, you see everything. You see all kinds of shit. And let's see, this one night we were on the Eastern Shore. I'm in Maryland, by the way. So we're at this place on the water. And so in the beginning, obviously, you play a song or two, and then like everybody does their speeches, but generally the speech is in the beginning. Now it becomes extremely clear during the speeches that the best man and the groom were clearly gay and in love with each other, right? And
it's already so much better than I thought. Already so much better than I thought.
And the best man is so drunk. He's so drunk. He basically gets up in front of everybody and professes his undying love.
Oh no!
And he like, goes for it.
He goes for it. He goes. He goes. I loved him first. You just take care of him.
Oh,
you know, like, and so obviously everybody's appalled, right? And the bride gets up and immediately storms out, right? And we're like, okay, what the fuck?
What song do you play in that moment?
Exactly. I love that. That's where your head is. So the band
Welcome
leader,
to the jungle, right?
Yeah. So the band leader goes up to the mother of the bride, and he's like, so what do you want us to do here? And she, of course, bites his head off, and she's like, what do you want to do? Right? You know, like, play some music. So we go on with the set, and she's gone. At some point in time, and everybody knows, I mean, it's just weird and shit, right? And the best man is gone too. And at some point in time, the mom decides that they still have to have the father-daughter dance. So
of course,
go find the daughter who's been missing for an hour now, right? She must have gone in the bathroom and slammed a whole bottle of vodka. They brought her out. Her poor feet were dragging, and her dad's like dragging her across the dance floor, you know.
Just shit show.
Dude, it was so bad.
Oh.
And then it
gets better.
Yeah, and then they go, and she sits down and she goes to pass out, and they go to cut the cake, and they can't find the wedding cake, right? The best man stole the wedding cake, threw it in the bay, and they find him out back, blacked out, drunk, with the wedding cake like in the water, and it like smeared all over him, just like, sabotaged the whole fucking wedding.
That is awesome.
And then we, packed up and went, and they paid us and left us a great review.
They were like, not their fault. Certainly not their fault. Maybe everyone but them.
Yeah. I'd love to hear another one of your guys though.
Chuck Diesel knows all of them.
Oh man, so you know that song Big Green Tractor? You know what I mean? Take me for a ride on my big green tractor. We can go. Who's that? Like Jason Aldean or something?
One of those.
Yeah, it's one of those guys. Right. It's one of those guys with a first and last name.
Yeah.
So we played this event. Burt and I did this together one year, but we played this event called the Dixie National Rodeo Dance, and it is a big drinking party after the rodeo, the Dixie National Rodeo. And there's a lady, you know that thing of when you go into the bar and there's somebody who's drunk when you show up to load in and they're still there during your set, you know?
Yeah.
So this is that lady. During the first set, she was already drunk when we got there. During the first set, she comes by and is just in front of everybody who happens to have a microphone at the front of the stand, just professing her love and desire for them. It's very awkward. It's very emphatic. It's also, we're like, hey, I saw you do that to my buddies 6 feet away from me 2 minutes ago. Just totally slammed out of her brain. The place finally fills up, and she's right up on the security barricade, and she's just dancing, and she's dancing dirty. And I'm like, this girl is so drunk. Now, at the time, we have the talkback microphone that goes into our earbuds. Only the band can hear this microphone because we're using in-ear monitors. And I go back and I go, look, this girl is like breaking it down at the front of the stage. A few minutes later, she finds a dude who's like, you know what, my standards of behavior are low enough that I'll dirty dance with this lady who's clearly barely standing. She's so drunk. And so she's like grinding up on the security barricade and grinding back on him. And he's like grinding up on her, and it's getting real dirty up there. And then we start playing the song Big Green Tractor. And I don't know what this song meant to her, but she goes from dirty dancing on the security barricade to sobbing in tears.
Oh, no.
And so I'm singing with my buddy. I'm singing BGVs at this point. Take you for a ride on my big green tractor. She's just sobbing, like with her shoulders shaking. You know, just this is a breakup song, or it was a love song or something. We get to the break. The thing is, we get to the break in the song after the chorus. She's sobbing on the security barricade, but the dude behind her does not know that anything has changed. So during Big Green Tractor, she's sobbing and he's still dirty dancing behind her. And I walk up to the microphone and just said, into the talkback microphone that only the band could hear, and I said, guys, look at this dude dry humping that sad girl in the front row. And we probably didn't sing for 3 more minutes. The band barely held it together musically. And everybody, just like the drummer almost fell off his stool. There was a dude doing some percussion that night. He just left the stage. He was laughing so hard. We couldn't sing for like 2 more minutes. And the whole and then eventually, thank Jesus, this poor man, or this evil man, whatever he was, noticed that she was upset and stopped grinding on her long enough to show her some attention. But I mean, I don't think there's ever been a longer version of that song played. And it was just because we could not get our shit together after that.
Man, you see some stuff when you play those bars all the time, don't you?
Do you know there used to be like the dance contest? Do you remember that? Can we talk about this? The dance contest?
Let it ride.
So the dance contest we used to do, and I would say that we would play Superstition by Stevie Wonder, right?
Yeah.
And we'd play it for like 30 minutes probably. And the dude trash talking jam bands fesses up. So I tell them we're gonna have a dance contest in the middle, and I buy the winner a free drink. Well, this is like halfway through the set. So my plan is to get everybody dancing and get everybody acting crazy, and then we just go straight into the next song, and everybody forgets that I was supposed to buy somebody a drink, right? Well, I found that it's much easier to make everybody forget you were supposed to buy them a drink if you tell them you're giving extra points for nudity while they're doing the dance contest.
Sure.
And so that was probably when I saw the craziest things that I've ever seen in a bar. But for sure, all the years we did that dance contest, I never had to buy anybody a drink. It was never a winner. It's weird.
Do you guys ever do chicken shit bingo?
I don't think I did.
I have not heard of this.
What is this?
Oh my God. So there's a dude in Texas. Oh, I'm gonna have to look it up right now. Hold on. You'll love this.
I know Choctaw bingo.
All right. Well, basically there is why can't I think of this guy's name? It's gonna come to me in a second. Anyway, there's this guy in Texas that does it. He's a incredible country singer. He's got a whole shtick. His band's great, but like every week he holds this bingo thing where they put a chicken in a cage with a bingo thing, and wherever the chicken drops a load, like that's the number they call, and he plays tunes in between. And I thought I'd seen a bunch of crazy stuff in my day, and like when I went to Texas, my buddy took me there to see him, and I was like, this is awesome. But because this band was absolutely bitching, this is going to kill me. But yeah, you see some stuff out there.
Brent knows about it. He said chicken shit bingo is the best.
Right?
Yep.
I'm telling you, I'm not making it up. This is a thing.
So let's move on to
okay.
So most of our we can keep shooting the shit if y'all want.
As soon as you remember it, let's revisit because I want to.
We want to know.
I want to see.
We might need to watch the video.
Yeah.
I don't want to, but I don't want to Google chicken shit bingo. I'm a little scared of that.
I'll do it on my end, and I'll share it once I find something.
So since you mentioned Texas, we have a big.
Where's my hat?
A big debate.
It's Dale Watson. It's Dale Watson. Someone dropped it in the chat. That's it.
Dale Watson. Do we need to pull this up real quick? I think we do.
Dale Watson. Let's test YouTube. Let's see what they got.
Dale Watson.
Yeah, I don't think Dale is going to pull
It's called
down
Chicken Poop Bingo.
Chicken Poop Bingo.
Oh, here it is. Chicken Shit Bingo.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if I can share this.
All right. Here we go.
So that's 30 minutes. You got the whole bingo game, but like you can get an idea of the band in between. Yeah, just hit it anywhere.
Oh hell yes!
Look at this.
I already love this,
dude. I told you this is a 10, dude. This guy and his band is great, and they tour. They do it. So they came through after I saw him the one time.
What?
Look at that hair, though.
I guess you don't have sound on there, or maybe it's not coming through my end.
Is it not coming through?
No.
Oh man, I definitely heard it. I only heard it in one ear, and I got jealous.
Let me make
sure I don't have sound. Looks like no one knows sound on the screen.
Yeah, I got you. Here we go.
Yeah.
New Orleans, the best place.
Here we go. That hair, though,
dude, he's great. But basically, they go until the chicken goes. And then they full stop in the middle of the song. B41. Call it out. They go back into the song. And they tour like this. So they came through after
I thought this was
the
chicken band, the touring band.
Dude, no, so I had no idea that it was a tour. Like I saw him again in Austin years ago. And my buddy I went with randomly 5 years later, could be 8 years later. I don't know. He goes, dude, Dale Watson's got the chickens. He's in Baltimore tonight. You need to go. And I'm like, what do you mean he's got the chickens? And so I go there and he's in this terrible part of town, an absolutely terrible part of town in this theater. And I go in and it's all people in their boots and cowboy hats. It's packed, right? And they got the chickens and they got the bingo. And he's got like big inflatable Lone Star beer things on stage, like the whole shtick, right? His hair is perfect.
Perfect. Yeah.
Perfect. And I asked him after the show, I'm like, dude, so you travel around with these chickens? He goes, no, we ain't allowed to do that. Someone's got to bring them to each show every night. And I'm like, so wait a minute. So you have to arrange in every town you go to someone to bring a crate of chickens? Like, how does one even do that? You pay the man his money, the chickens are there.
I bet that fucks up your routing so much.
Who is the man that you pay the money? Who gets this money?
I don't know. He's probably the manager and the bus driver.
Right.
You know, it's all of it. But anyway, Dale Watson is a legend. You're welcome.
Oh man, that's awesome.
He's got a KEXP full performance, has like 100-something thousand views. I'm totally gonna go watch that tonight.
It's right up our alley.
As I'm falling asleep.
I can't believe I haven't showcased him on my channel. It's gonna have to happen. We should do it together.
We should do a chicken shit bingo.
Yes.
Reaction stream. You just need to tell that story.
Okay. I think that might have to happen.
I'm down. Dude, I'm
Okay.
so down.
All right. So where did you want to go now? What do you want to talk
No,
about?
we could just hang on this for a while.
Well, I do want to talk about some of the more intricate aspects of chicken shit bingo, some of the details. No, I'm kidding. Let's get to
Oh
it.
my God.
Kentucky or Texas?
I just keep looking at his photo over here, and I can't stop looking at him. Like he's just so.
Dude, his hair is perfect, and his and if you do his interviews or anything, he's exactly the way he looks. Like his whole thing, and like
awesome.
he's got like he like hits all these like certain little licks with his big rings and like winks at you. I mean, he's got a whole shtick. It's a fine-tuned thing.
I think we have our band for who needs to play at our family reunion next year.
I don't know, man. It felt like looking
that-
into a crystal ball and seeing the future. That felt like.
That is who we need.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, his band was great, man. His pedal steel player was fucking tremendous. It was like it's like this really good band, incredibly well rehearsed. They have all their tunes down. They never miss a change. Everything's perfect. But then it's like packaged in this weird shtick of chicken shit bingo. And I don't know, man. It's a thing and it works. It's awesome. I don't know what to tell you.
I just pay the man and the chicken show.
That's what he said, man. He said, I don't know. I just pay the man his money. The chickens are here.
All right, so we need to remember this
God.
two epic quotes from the night. I just pay a man and the chickens show up, and I loved him first. You just take care of him. That's going on my fucking tombstone.
I loved him first. Dude, it was so ridiculous.
All right, so we have a big argument in our community
Okay.
as to what state has the best songwriters. And so obviously our community is mainly focused on country and Americana artists. And Texas has held the reins for so many years back with the Highwaymen and so many people in the old days.
Hard to not pick Texas.
But there's a new debate with people like Tyler Childers and Sturgill Simpson in Kentucky and Chris Stapleton.
Yeah.
Then in Oklahoma, you got Turnpike Troubadours with Evan Felker, John Moreland. You got some new kids on the scene like Zach Bryan. If you had to pick a state, I'm not even going to hint at you how I feel about it. How do you feel? Who you got?
I mean, my gut feeling is Texas, but
So we're talking about modern music, right?
Modern, not
okay.
music.
So that was going to be kind of where I was going to. Oh man. Oh,
It's hard.
It is hard. Okay, I will personally say that when you talk about modern country, like the stuff that's been coming out that's actually made a damn dent in my life. Recently the answer is Kentucky. It is Tyler. It's Sturgill. It says, I mean, hell, Billy Strings, man. And
Is he from Kentucky?
I think he is.
Oh Lord, it's just they are so stacked. It is not fair.
Yeah, and historically speaking, it is hard to go against Texas, man.
Benjamin Todd's from Kentucky. Corden says.
Yeah.
Also, if we give Kentucky West Virginia, then it's a wash.
Yeah,
Nobody is going to beat Kentucky and West Virginia
takes them
teamed
all.
up together. Shutout for sure.
Now, Chuck, you are Team Texas. So what are you even talking about over here?
Because Texas is badass, baby. Beck is from Texas, motherfucker.
Beck is not modern. So I'm a huge John Moreland fan.
Absolutely.
He's my favorite. And so him with Evan Felker and then like John Fulbright and a couple of folks from Oklahoma are my favorites.
Yeah.
But all right. So if you were to start a record label, I'll let you take it either one or two ways. You can just pick your favorite genres of music, or if you can think of country and Americana artists, that would be really cool too. But if you were to start a record label tomorrow, who's the first three folks you're signing on the roster?
Oh God, that's a hell of a question there. Well, I wouldn't. I mean, Jesus Christ, man.
I wouldn't start a label either. Not with
No,
them.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't join.
Talented.
I wouldn't join one either.
I wouldn't join one either. But
you know,
if you were.
man, I don't see how in any universe you couldn't have Sturgill on there. that man. I know he says he's not making any more records. By the way, do you think that's true?
No.
We again, much debate in this
No.
community.
Yeah, I don't
Heated.
know. You know, I would need the things that I would look for are mature songwriting that I feel like can that could be rearranged to different genres. Not that it wouldn't have to, but songs that could people that had songs that could stand the test of time. At least like 3 of them, you know.
Yeah.
Ones that I could see being redone in R&B, people covering them like really fucking like real songs. But I, would also really want bands and not necessarily one person if I could, like I would love like a like a Mandolin Orange or something
Come on now.
something, where it's a little where there's just a little bit more of an atmosphere happening, something where it's a group, like or like Larkin Poe, something where where it's not just around like the one person and you build a band around the one person, but if you can have Sturgill, if you can have Isbell, like shit,
A lot of talk in the chat over here about John Prine, which I think is like a really interesting point. You talk about
he's probably my favorite
songwriting.
songwriter of all time.
Yeah, you talk about mature songwriting that could stand the test of time. Like,
Yeah.
This is this thing of like John Prine as a young man writing like an old man. That makes his songs from way back forever still epic today. For sure. Also, we've been corrected. Billy Strings is from Michigan. So that is
that
one
true?
demerit for Palmisano.
That doesn't sound right, is it?
Everybody's
Have y'all
piling
seen
on us.
Have y'all seen that photo of Billy Strings on that cruise ship?
We've had more people
With
say
them-
Billy Strings is from Michigan than shit talk me about my Minecraft.
Okay. Billy Strings was born in Michigan but raised in Kentucky. I just no. This is a quick Wikipedia.
Looks like all these actuallys can kiss that ass.
No. It just means that I didn't do
Wikipedia's on our side.
It didn't mean I clearly haven't done much. I heard it somewhere and took it as gospel. Anyway,
I do that with everything I hear, basically.
Yeah.
It's no big deal.
Anyway, what were you going to say?
I was gonna say, have you seen that photo of Billy Strings with his white legs on that boat?
On a cruise ship?
This is. Do you follow Think I'll Just Stay Here and meme on Instagram?
No.
Oh,
No.
gotta do it.
It's
Big shout out.
Shout out to my man over at Think I'll Just Stay Here and meme. He just makes a lot of country and Americana memes, and they're always unbelievable. And this is probably one of my favorite ones that I think you'll really like.
Okay.
When that warm weather starts creeping back in and you reintroduce your legs to the wild after wearing nothing but Wranglers and cowboy boots for the past 5 months.
I mean, look at that.
That's
like uncanny. I feel like that looks like stockings.
I mean, the other guy's legs are even whiter.
The same.
Right? It seems like a bit of a uniform for the band. Maybe they all have poor circulation and have to wear those white stockings.
Dude.
All right, so I don't know if Chuck knows this, but y'all have a mutual admiration. I watched your video on your favorite new, or I don't know if you said new, but country artist.
Oh, dude, Paul?
Chuck is also a huge Paul Cauthen fan. Y'all just go ahead and nerd out on him a little bit. Just let it out.
Okay, so Paul.
Go on ahead.
So Paul is an interesting thing, because. So again, I'm constantly fascinated with people that find ways to make new hooks that I haven't heard before. Like we talked about having the vehicle, like within the song, like you got to have a hook. Like you can be this amazing voice, which of course he is. But dude, I mean, he's got that 41 album has like 6 hits on it. Like it just does. And the band is absolutely killer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely killer. He is a fascinating creature because yeah, the way I would describe it is like outlaw funk. You know what I mean? Like if you
Right.
if you take his voice and put some big black lady over that track,
It's just soul music. He's just a soul
that's
singer.
that's
Yeah.
what it is. That's
Yeah.
what it is. It's no, man, he was a really big find for me, and it just happened.
I do think that he is country, even though he made his own definition and beat the system
Yeah.
and is about to start a new religion.
Oh, that's right.
He's still country. Country as fuck.
It's some. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, and he obviously, you know, has embraced that kind of that thing that sells, you know, like compared to, you know, like some of the earlier stuff that I've heard him do. But man, the dude knows how to make a hit, and it sounds new. It sounds different. Like it's just so simple and so hard to do.
And they produced the shit out of that record.
Yeah.
Sounds so good.
Dude, when I first listened to that, when I heard all like the spacey overdubs, I was like, this dude is like, it's almost like a Casey Musgraves vibe, the way this production is. Like it's so, there's so many sounds in there. Like you think it's country, then all of a sudden you get this super atmospheric over top. Wild.
Yeah, that's something that we talk about a lot. So Chuck is going to be producing some of my songs here coming up, and I kind of joke with him a lot because how long he takes. But it's because he's trying to like create something that's different, and I could record all of my songs and do it like everybody does it. Like nowadays it's just stripped down version, adding a couple instruments here and there, making it real raw sounding. And that's kind of like what most of the albums in our genre sounds like today. But it's just so cool to listen to interesting produced country music, which I don't think happens a whole lot.
Very, very rarely do I hear something,
And he's so refreshing.
Yeah, where I'm like, okay, this is new. Like there's obviously, you know, a nod to Waylon, and there's all these, you know, all these different things, but like the packaging is new. It doesn't seem like it like you're trying to fit some formula. But what's also interesting about it is that there's like no fat on those songs or those records.
Yep.
I mean, you are into the verse in like 12 seconds, you know, in
Right.
some of those, you know, I mean, and it's, I mean, it double chorus, you know, like you're right to the bridge, you come out, there's this weird little interlude maybe, like, but it's like, it's thought out. Like, and when have you seen him live?
I've only seen videos.
Yeah, we've seen videos of it.
So I don't know if you watched that video I did till the end, but I go to the end and I go to his website and I realize he's playing in Baltimore that night.
Oh shit.
And I go to the show.
How was it?
Dude, so you guys have been in working bands. So you know the difference between seeing like, you know, like a really well-oiled working band that seems really loose, but they're actually like you can tell night after night, like they're on there and they're honing it like every little piece of it, versus a band that's just like loose up there, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
This was a well-oiled machine, and he kind of ran it like a dictator a little bit. He had a little James Brown about him, you know what I mean?
Nice.
Like he wasn't talking, you know, and you know, in between songs and letting the vibe go away. Like when the guitar player was taking more than 5 seconds to start the next track, he'd go, "Come on, son." You know, like he was on, he was on him, you know. But then he was also, you know, like, you know, shotgunning Miller Lights and and ripping cigarettes, like, and putting them out on the stage in Baltimore, which is illegal. You know, it's like it was so Texas. It was amazing.
Well, I got a recommendation for you. LTD just put it in the chat, but it was the exact
shout-outs,
thing that I was thinking of.
Multiple
We
shout-outs.
interviewed one of our favorite bands in the community. It's a band called TK and the Holy Know Nothings.
I don't know them.
All right. Please, I'll send it to you maybe later on. But
Send it to me. I'll do it for
go
you.
check out TK and the Holy Know Nothings, Emmanuel.
So that concept of a perfect loose band,
Yeah.
is what they are. I was like, I cannot believe how good these guys are at sounding shitty. It was amazing. And I said that to them in the interview, and they were like, you do get it.
We asked him, and I was like, how do you do that? Because I either sound polished or shitty. There's no like loose and good.
Yeah.
And I don't know how do you think that happens? Like, how do you get to that point?
Well, I think that if you play with a group of people for long enough and you're doing the same basic thing for long enough, you get to a point where it's just pure muscle memory. And some nights that means you're super tight and you're and nothing flows. But other nights, I mean, it's so loose you can't hit a wrong note. And I think that the more often you get, like when I was super busy in my cover band days, and we were doing 110 120 shows a year. I mean, towards the end of the season, like before winter would come, I mean, we were so tight, but we could be so loose because like you've already played each one of those songs like 150 times that year. So it's just, I don't know, I think it's just rehearsal, same as anything else.
I think that you guys should also listen to Emmanuel together. I think y'all should team up on that.
Hit me some tracks.
I think that
as soon as you said that about Paul, I was like, I got something for you. I feel like you're going to enjoy this.
Man, and the other thing with Paul Cawthon is that you talked about it kind of that the textures might be something that you wouldn't hear on a country album. And I love raw sounding albums, but I also love really slick, really intentional, over the top production. It's just like you said, usually the content is not there as far as the songs go. So to hear somebody that's producing something at like the upper level and over the top type of production, that's not a song I'm completely turned off by. And is a song that I actually get into the material to be able to hear that production on that content. That's just a whole different type of win for sure.
Yeah. And that's something, to be totally honest, I've never really gotten that into production. Like I obviously, know what you're talking about and I can tell. But that is a world I know very, very, very little about. But to your point, if you remove all the production, the song will stand. I mean, I mean, there's always, that true test, right? Can you do it with just a voice and one instrument, whether it's an acoustic guitar or piano? Is the song already there? And if it's not, you don't have a song. And so everything else has to be in service of that. So, in my opinion.
And I'm gonna make a shit ton of haters with this one. Come on, give me your hate. But
hit me.
Like, for example, Beyonce's "Who Run the World," "Girls Run the World," right? That song, if you just stripped it down, it's overproduced, it's super produced, right? But if you just stripped it down, that song would not interest me. However, Carly Rae Jepsen, "Call Me Maybe," you take the production completely out of that song, and I'm still in on the song because the song itself has the hook. The song itself has what I want, and everything else is just icing. It's just another level of enjoying that kind of content.
I agree with you. I agree with you completely.
We got a lot of.
We just gonna let him slide with this Carly Rae Jepsen thing. That's just gonna be okay.
I love a bop. I love a bop. We gonna let all these requests for Emmanuel go untouched.
Get to work. Y'all cannot let that slide. With Palmisano's here.
Me and Carly Rae Jepsen together. That would be great.
No, man. No. You gotta listen. I mean, I think we all have pop tunes that we secretly love. I mean, there's so many. I mean, but you're right. There are some, especially these days, where the production is the song, and those don't interest me at all. Like they don't even really get stuck in my head. Like I get why they get stuck in other people's head, and I get why like they crush the club and people bumping uglies, but
uglies got to get bumped.
I mean,
right?
Dude,
Look, the chat is blowing up. They cannot stand.
It took
this.
a little while, but I was
Jody
a little
said,
worried.
"I'm an underground." Jody, I see you. Good to hear from you, buddy. I am not an
Intergalactic
underground Swiftie.
Intergalactic stripped down.
I am. Intergalactic strip down is beautiful. It's also better if you put it to the music of Ray Parker Jr.'s Ghostbusters, which is excellent.
God.
Everybody,
Oh my God.
everybody go back and watch that again. Chad Dan wants me to do some more Eastern European hip hop. See, here's the thing. A bop is a bop. It doesn't matter what y'all come at me with all your hate, but bops is bops. Bops is bops.
We are way too old to be calling songs bops.
They do not like it when I
We are
call
way
it a
too
bop.
old. There's
They
too
do
much
not like
gray in these beards.
Come at me. And I am not an underground Swiftie. I am a loud and proud Swiftie. And if I could think of a Taylor Swift lyric right now to back that up,
We are going off the
I'm
rails.
a Romeo and Juliet all the
We
way.
we are officially
Mr.
off the rails.
Mr. Tonic's throwing out some jack shit the band for some West Coast country. You guys know them?
Never heard of them.
Jack
See-
shit.
See, this is how it goes, man. This
Yeah.
is how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you,
Jack
Mr.
shit the
Tonic
band.
Amps.
Is it called Jack Shit the Band?
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
That's
That's
awesome.
what it sounds like.
Yeah,
I'm all about
Bob
that.
has resurfaced as an acceptable term. Okay.
And this is coming from like one of the younger dudes, so I'll take it. TOP, I'll take it.
So, you being a guitar teacher, even in your videos, I hear you talk so much about songs and the
Yeah.
importance of songs. Who were did you have anybody locally that taught you good music? Because I talk about it a lot on the interviews that I do, that I grew up on like not very good Christian music. And I kind of had to find my way. Basically, recently on this YouTube channel, I'm learning music that's incredible and which is making me a better songwriter. But did you have anybody younger while you were growing up that kind of led you down the path of good music, or did you come at it later? How did you really get into the stuff that you love?
It came later.
Same.
Well, with I mean, there's one notable exception, and that's my grandmother loved George Jones, and my grandmother is probably my favorite person in the world, you know, or at least has been for my whole life, and outside my wife and kids and all that. But she's like my best friend, and so like, if I could have an end of the world party, she'd be there, and we'd have a cocktail and we'd be listening to old George,
Hell yeah.
and so she would always be one of those people that would always have like him or Johnny Cash or George Strait or whatever, in her gold Buick, and would always be riding me around and doing whatever. But so that would be like the main thing early as far as songs. But no, man, for me, music when I was a kid, when I was younger, was the guitar was a physical instrument to me. It was very much like a way to get angst out and anger and aggression, and it was not intellectual. I paid almost no attention to the lyrics. It was rhythm. Just rhythm. Blunt force trauma is really all I cared about.
Speed,
bigger, faster, stronger, louder. It needs to hurt more, right? Did I come home with bruises? Wasn't a good show if I didn't, right?
I tried to get him to hand me a beer. He wouldn't give me one.
We're on opposite sides of the building, people. I'm down in the
Yeah, I need
mansion here.
I need one too. I don't have anybody.
Do you have any more in the fridge?
Yes. Am I going to be the guy that has to make the fridge beer? I'll be right back. Keep
All
going.
right.
He's the guy that always goes on the beer run, by the way, in the middle of the stream.
Yeah, I used to have a little cooler that I would put right here on the side when I would do streams.
I mean, here's the thing. You mentioned George Jones. How come George Jones get drunk and not show up for things, and they're like, "Oh, George Jones!" I do it. The whole Discord blows up. I don't understand, y'all.
This man forgets. This man on multiple occasions has texted me at 10 o'clock at night, well after our live stream, and said, "Oh man, I forgot it was Tuesday."
One time he called me to check on my well-being, and I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm fine. What's going on?" He's like, "Well,
Check on
You
my
missed the
well-being.
last 2 weeks.
he was like, what do you?" what you up to? I was like, not much, man. Just got done with dinner. What you up to? He was like, well, just got off the live stream that you weren't here for. I hope you can hear me up there.
All right,
that's
another
funny.
important question.
Well, hold on. I gotta finish this one though.
Oh, have you not finished?
I'm sorry.
I waited for
Chuck
you.
will steal your story.
We shit talked the whole
Chuck
time
will
that
steal
you were
your
gone.
story all day long.
That's true.
Go
That
ahead.
is
My
true.
bad.
Anyhow. So it wasn't until I actually went to music school and went out to California that somehow, by the grace of God, I have no idea, I got bit by the bluegrass bug. And as strange as it might sound, as someone who's been playing guitar since, I mean, I don't remember not playing. I mean, like no recollection of not playing. I had never learned a song like basic chords and basic melody. Like it was just riffing and shredding for 15 straight years, right? With no sense of any song whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean, song structure, but like rhythmic, not like any consideration whatsoever to like melody or anything, right? And then I got deep into bluegrass, man, and like Doc Watson was like my guiding light, and through that lens, I just fell in love with simplicity and honest speak and the characters, painting a picture of a person and how that person might be a piece of each of us, and that whole kind of Americana thing. And that kind of was the precipice that I fell over, that kind of changed from me being, a child and an adolescent who wanted like the most complex, fastest, most difficult, like impressive guitar things, to going on a complete hunt for the inside. I completely did a complete inversion, and basically began on this path, which I'm still on, which I'm on the hunt for the simplest, purest expression of any singular thing, right? And so obviously my love of the song stemmed from that, and that's the bluegrass got me into country music, which is how I found John Prine and onward and onward. But it happened when I had already been playing guitar for 15 or 20 years or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something that I try to keep telling myself, because especially in this genre of music, like, I mean, people normally don't start to get major recognition until they're in their 40s or 50s, because it's such a mature songwriting genre. Because if you're not bringing lyrically and storytelling wise, if you're not at that same level as some of these massive people are, and for the truth of the matter is, it takes a lot of people 20, 30, however many years to be able to write a song on that level
or find their audience, even if they are good.
Yeah,
really.
and
That's
it's
true.
it's
Texas
just
Cyclone just nailed it. He said it's a mirror image of how we evolve as humans, young and self-centered to adulthood and introspective. It's not that simple, but that is accurate.
yeah. And it's neat to think of musicians who have been doing it for a long time, who can find something new or continue to grow. And another thing that I wanted to talk to you about was, I know that you had mentioned on one of your like more candid videos of how you were planning on making more music your own. And so how are you planning on taking this guitar teacher world to translating it to maybe your own band or your own music? How are you feeling about all that?
Yeah. So that's really the big question, that I don't have an answer to, but it's kind of the question of my life. So I'll answer this in a very backwards way. For the first 10, at least, probably 15 years of my life, guitar was a completely impersonal, private thing for me. I didn't share it with anybody. Like outside of like my closest friends and like my family in my house, no one knew that I played. It was a personal thing. And it wasn't until I was in school in college for business that eventually I was just like, listen, like I know that I can be this great player. I have it in me. Like I will die with the song still within me if I don't bail and go now. And I left and went to music school and like that was really like and I was thrown into the deep end and that was really like the first time I had ever taken a bet on myself and decided to share it with the world. Um, and then, why that's important is that it has been the struggle of my life. It might seem odd because this is what I do now, but it has been the struggle of my life to actually like believe in myself and go all in on me and make something that I feel like only I can make and share it with the world. And so I have been trying to get there since I was 5 years old. And
Yeah.
I feel like going to music school was like the main first step. And then when I graduated and started gigging and all that, that was like a main second step. But I was just doing like covers. I wasn't making anything. And then when I started teaching online and had to start making courses and everything, I mean, that was so hard for me. I mean, still every day I sit there and look at that freaking button before I hit upload, and like I just fucking don't want to do it. And but I get older, you force yourself to do it, and it happens. And so like now I'm at a point where I'm finally getting to a comfort level where I actually feel like maybe I'll have the confidence to make a record or actually start sharing all this stuff and not just teach it or translate it or
Yeah.
or, or reproduce something that someone else has done. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is the answer to your question has been the struggle of my entire life.
So I relate to this. People already say it in the chat, like sounds like Bert. Like I relate to that more than you can possibly. Well, obviously you can imagine it.
Yeah.
But my question is, what's the biggest lie that you believe about yourself that keeps you from
Mm.
doing that?
Oh,
What's that thing that keeps you from doing it?
wow. I love the question. The biggest lie that you believe about yourself. That I can't. I mean, it has to be that 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 I can't break the old habits the old chains that I shackled myself with as a child. That has to be it. Like so much of your depression and anxiety and lack of self-esteem and everything, when you're someone who feels deeply that the burn, that the need to create, like you need oxygen, um, it stems from watching yourself not do it over and over and over again and choosing to not do the work, to not bet on yourself, to just make it tomorrow or whatever it is, and find all these different reasons and all these different justifications to not actually do what you should be doing. Um, and so the biggest lie that I tell myself, or we all do, is that you'll never be man enough to break it.
Hmm. My
I would like to hear yours.
Yeah, I was about to tell you mine. So I feel like with me, so I've written a lot of songs, I've put out records. I've never had problems with putting out music, but my biggest thing that I think I believe about myself is that like that I'm a nobody and that nobody's ever going to care.
Mm,
And what that tends to do to me is that I don't put in the work.
mhm.
So I'll put out music, but I'll just kind of work a little bit and I'll put some lyrics on it and then I'll get some friends to play some music on it. And I think that I'm learning about myself that I come off as somebody who puts music out, but I'm not really putting the work in as if I believed that the music was good enough. And so I half-ass everything. Not YouTube. Like I've gone all in on YouTube and I work my ass off on YouTube. That's one thing that it's weird because I've been a songwriter my whole life. And now this new thing, I'm more confident in this new thing than I ever have been as a songwriter.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like with this new music that I'm making, I want to put the work in as if I believed it was as good as a Tyler Childers song, even though it may not be. But I cop out so much with my songs, and I just end up, whether it be lyrically or musically or production wise, I tend to not give it my all because at the end of the day, I don't believe in myself enough.
Yeah. I know exactly that. For anybody else that's listening, and I see a lot in the comments too that appreciate this deep conversation, and I'm glad we're on it. I would encourage you or anybody to read The War of Art if you hadn't.
Yeah.
You know that book?
Yeah.
That's the book. We all, Pressfield calls it The Resistance, like we all give it different names, whether it's self-doubt or self-esteem or, fear of success, like maybe you are as good as you could be as good as you think you are. That's the scariest one. You know what I mean? Because that's the one that really beats you up later. Because if you actually are more afraid of success than failure, then it's really, really hard to look in the mirror,
Yep.
Anyway, that book helped me a great deal, but man, we're all dealing with it, man. It's just part of the game. Chuck, how about you, man?
The biggest lie I believe about myself is that my penis is small. I'm out.
I'm a giver.
He's been trying to find a way to go pee for the longest time.
Oh, he actually left. There he is.
The doorknob came off.
Man, I got to get some new doorknobs. I don't know how to fix them damn doorknobs.
So
These things
you
are
guys,
40 years old.
So you guys, do you live near each other? Do you live together? Like, what's the setup here?
He lives about 5 minutes down the road.
Okay, and so you just he comes to your house, and you're in two different rooms for whatever reason.
We're in the Americondo here, which is a massive compound, with all kind of production studios, and we've got a huge team, huge staff working here. Yeah, he lives right down the road. So
that's a good question, by the way. That was awesome.
Well, I mean, I feel like, so you are obviously a very successful YouTuber. And this is the most success I've ever found in music by doing what I'm doing. Not to put me anywhere near to the success you found, but like it's the first time I've ever done something where people seem to be into it and want you to do more of it. And so,
yeah,
if you feel that way, finding the success that you've found, and especially getting all the validation that you get from the music community, like the Daniel Donatos that you're playing with, and this,
that means the world to me.
I really want people to hear that this is something we're going to carry for the rest of our lives, no matter how much success you find or how little success you find.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just gratitude. The internet is it's just an amazing kind of thing that's happened. I don't really know where to go from there, but the relationships that, from people like you, from subscribers, from musicians that I respect, that, view me as a peer.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. Let's go there, because
it's crazy.
Like, one of the craziest things in the world to me is that songwriters who I respect, send me messages and are like, "Hey man, I love what you're doing." I'm like, "What do you mean you love what I'm doing?" Like, I'm the fan. And so for you, how has it been to have some of the biggest names in the guitar world to give you that validation? Because I know for me, it's like it's one of the reasons I'm so confident in YouTube compared to being a songwriter, I think.
You know, it's an interesting thing. A lot of it, so a lot of it has to do with the kind of genre you're in.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of love from the country people, the songwriting people, the jam band people, the Nashville heavy hitters in the guitar world. You know, but I don't get a lot of love from, you know, a lot of like the jazz guys and like a lot of the uh, that part of the world.
You
I
can't
don't,
please the purist. There is no way to ever please the purist.
perhaps that's it. Hold on one sec. All right, never mind. So okay, speaking from the all of it is just fucking awesome, dude. Like,
It's
so
crazy. It's wild.
It is crazy. I remember I did what was it, like a Zach Bryan video? I don't even know.
He's the main reason I have a YouTube channel, by the way. Shout out to Zach Bryan.
Why is that?
Like all of my views come from Zach Bryan videos.
Well, like just the other day. I mean, have you interviewed him? Do you know him?
We are not allowed to talk about it at this time.
Okay.
I'm
some things.
I'm working on it.
Anyway,
Working on it.
the only reason that I ask is because like I did a video of his when he was, oh, I don't know which song it was. I can't remember offhand, but he was fantastic. He was tremendous, right? And I made the video, and I didn't think anything of it. I mean, like the video, like it did extremely well. I didn't really think anything of it. And then I went back like a month or two ago or something like that, and someone told me that he had jumped into the comments, and I go to the video, and he's like at the top of the comments, you know, said something along the lines of, you know, ever since I became a songwriter, I've been dreaming that, you know, I would be on my channel and that you would review it.
Nice.
And I just never thought you'd have picked this song or something like that. And I'm like, well, let's talk about it. Like, holy shit. And I can't get in touch with him. I can't get
let me just tell you.
Here's the thing.
Do not get me started.
Here's the thing.
Yeah. Well, you gotta.
I'm actually good friends with his dad.
So
like I've had multiple conversations with his dad.
Yeah.
But I cannot get that man. I've had his keyboard player, JR, who's also a songwriter. Shout out JR Carroll.
What up, JR?
Love JR. And he has like been on our live stream and lurked because he tweeted about it one time, was like, I love the live stream tonight. I was like, how did you not say anything in the live stream? And I can't get him to comment.
He more than most probably enjoys that mystique of being unreachable. And also I think, you know, I like following his social media and seeing a lot of the things that about his sense of humor. He's a very smart guy.
Yeah.
And I think that he enjoys being unreachable a little bit. Yeah.
But as far as from the guitar player side, I mean, that part has been truly unbelievable for me. Because when I first started going all in online, again, it seems like yesterday, but it was like a light year away. As far as how the technology's changed, but like almost everyone completely poo-pooed the whole idea. You know what I mean? Like if you're not out there doing it, you're not out there doing it. Period. You know, like what do you mean you're going to spend your whole day in front of cameras and computers? Like there's no right. You're not a real player, right?
Yeah.
And to have chosen that path, and to be able to, you know, take my skill set and to have it be translated through video to have people I look up to, you know, not only even treat me as a peer, but, you know, also look up to me and have them like say the way they say, the way they play, whatever, and invite me on stage when they come through, and invite me on records and stuff, like is just like this wild turn of events.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is so fascinating because like these, there's a lot of crap on these videos. There's a lot of fake playing and
Yep.
people and over edited everything. And it's just fat. Like I remember like the first time it happened, when I got to sit in with Humphreys McGee. I know that you guys aren't big on the jam circuit, but
We like Humphreys. I like Humphreys.
Umph is a different animal. I actually don't know why they're on that circuit. Maybe because they couldn't have another home. But
yeah,
but they are.
We've done a couple of their videos, and I have been pleasantly surprised how non-jam bandish
They're not a
they
jam
were.
band. I don't know why they're anybody that covers Tool where the drummer is singing is not shouldn't be in the jam band circuit. I don't know how it's possible. So I've gotten tight with all those guys, and like when they came through, they invited me on stage, but we hadn't met before in person. And whether you like that band or you hate that band, you can't say an effing word about their musicianship, no matter what genre you're in. They are the tits.
Yeah.
They are about the top of the mountain in basically any genre they choose to be in. And they invite some dude from the internet to sit in and play with them. No rehearsal, no even discussion of the song or the key or anything. And it's
they've heard you play, man. They know.
But I'm just saying that thing that means the world to me. And and I'm happy that it conveys through video, because I don't know, man. I mean, like if I was in a touring band, I see a lot of the other content creators out there that play guitar. I don't know if I'd invite many of them to sit in with me. So I know it's awesome. It's unbelievable. And it's just the beginning. It's the absolute birth of it, as far as I'm concerned.
Isn't it
Feels
crazy
like day one.
how few of us there are out there? Like maybe there's a lot of guitar teachers making education stuff.
It's incredibly crowded.
Okay, well, in the like songwriter space,
not so much.
I maybe know 2 or 3 other people maybe that are doing a lot of YouTube content or at all. But it's just strange to me because I've tried to like reach out to other YouTubers just to kind of be friends with people, because there's so like if I were doing this interview with you for just selfish reasons, I would be talking like straight up YouTube inside baseball. And I've just, do you have have you been able to meet a lot of content creators, and how has that helped you in your journey?
So yes, I've been very blessed. It came far later than I expected it to. But basically, somewhere along my journey, when I first started, I did not have any mentors. I did not have anybody that I could bounce things off of. It was very different than it was today. But I was all in, and I lost money for years and made so many mistakes. It's not like it is now. But at some point along the way, I got involved with Paul Reed Smith guitars, and I'm here in Maryland. And for those that don't know, like this guitar over here is a PRS.
Get that full screen shot, Burt.
Yeah, yeah.
We gotta widen your shot a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah. So there's one there, right? And so they're here in Maryland, and they're the third biggest guitar maker behind Fender and Gibson, right?
And Gibson's dying, right?
Yeah. So
let's get into that. That's what I want to talk about.
So they say. So anyway, PRS was a very, very early adopter of online educators and online influencers, for lack of a better word. They definitely got the game early. Their people there are sharp and they are awesome. And so I became one of their primary online educational like partner resources early. So like in 2015 or 16 or so. And so when that happened, then I kind of even though I had basically no YouTube subscribers and nothing else really to speak of that was public, I had sold a ton and ton of courses. Like I got really good at that. Like I definitely was making a living on the internet, but it wasn't like this public thing like it is, on YouTube where you can see how big everything is. So once I kind of had PRS behind me and they started taking me to all these guitar conferences and clinics and doing all these different things and kind of being a whatever you call it for them, I got to meet a lot of the super early adopters that were on the content creator side, and just the monsters out there like Marty Schwartz, like Rick Beato, as a close friend, and a bunch of others. And so I kind of met them before I ever had any kind of traction on YouTube, and having those friends and Tim Pierce like to bounce things off of over the years has been unbelievable. And no one ever really was anything except the most encouraging. And one thing I've found is that to your point, at least in the educational world, there's so much noise. There's so many people that try to sell stuff, and there's so much going on, and there's just endless guitar content online. But there's really not many of us once you break through the noise, that this is what we do full time. We don't have another job. We have families, like we have houses, like this is a legit career that we've been doing for many, many years. There's really not many. I mean, there might be like, I don't know, maybe 100 in the world. I don't know. It's a small group, and we all know each other. We all know each other, and we all talk. And it's been just a crazy ride, man. And it feels like it's day one. I just can't keep stressing that enough.
I guess I need to go to a conference. Maybe some of these YouTubers will talk to me. They don't be responding to my DMs, but I need to.
Well, see, that's kind of what I meant before. Is like, when I first met, a lot of these people, they wouldn't have responded to me. They wouldn't even have seen it. They wouldn't.
That's the thing.
I mean, dude, I mean, I know it's the same with you guys or everybody. I mean, every single inbox is maxed out.
Imagine Zach Bryan's inbox.
Yeah,
I bet Zach.
You can't get through.
Well, speaking of inboxes, my neighbor, shout out to my neighbor Steve, who's 4 houses down this way, is a member of Guitargate.
Awesome.
And one of his biggest things was he was so blown away that he sent you an email and maybe he was saying how much he enjoyed the courses or something, and he asked you a question, and he was blown away that you responded to his email, and he was just like, I can't believe. So that's so cool of you that you were responding to your own.
So this conversation is going to snowball into the weeds, but so one of the conversations that I have a lot constantly with all of my fellow music educators that sell products to make a living, because like YouTube doesn't pay anything, obviously, especially when all your content gets claimed, right?
They all get blocked.
Right. So the only way to make a living is people find you, they choose to support you by taking your lessons, courses, or whatever. But you gotta have a product to make a living off YouTube, unless you're massive.
Yeah.
And so one of the debates that we always have is that I'm like the only one in the group at this kind of upper tier that really tries to respond to everything from paying customers. Instagram DMs, no. Like Twitter, like Facebook, like YouTube comments, like no. I mean, I'll do.
There's not enough time in the day. Like,
not even
if you did it all
not
day.
even it's not even an option to consider it.
Yeah.
But as far as paying customers, like I spend the vast majority of my day talking to customers on my website. That is my work day, basically. And I could outsource it, but like I like talking to them. It really, gives me the feeling that I'm doing something right. Like back to the conversation before, like I enjoy it. It's completely unscalable. I'm completely maxed out. Like I should probably spend my time doing other stuff, but I try my very best to respond to everything, even if it takes me like a couple weeks.
Right. All right. So a lot of the guitar heads in our chat are asking the question that Chuck Diesel will get worked up about: single coil or humbuckers, and why?
Well, these days, single coil, man.
Come on now.
Yeah.
If you're keeping up in the chat, that's a drink.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I just, I like it spanky. But
Spanky's such a good way to describe it.
I do. I know. Spanky only if it's a maple fretboard, right?
yeah.
There's no such thing as a spanky rosewood, right?
I don't know, man.
Did you ever work at a
pretty spanky right here?
Did you ever work at a guitar shop selling guitars?
No, God, no. I never sold anything in my life, man.
Except a lot of courses.
Well, so yeah. Well, yeah, but what I was going to say is it's kind of a joke, but the only thing I've ever sold in my life is me. I've only sold myself. So whether it's me on stage or whatever, but as far as like actual, no, dude, I've never had a W-2 till I gave myself one.
A W-2, is that a PRS model? I'm not familiar with that one. Hey, TLP wants to know, when and where do you use a bucker versus singles?
So, like, you can use a single for damn near everything except super, super high gain environments where you just have to throw sledgehammers of sound to the back of the room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for me, it's always about that chunky low mid range on a humbucker that you got to control, versus like a single coil you can feel like a single coil you can bend around anything. But 2023, nothing but humbuckers for me. Y'all heard it here first.
Listen, I love humbuckers, man. I grew up playing humbuckers. Like my I don't know. I think I'll always in my core be a humbucker play. I'm always going to be a dimed out Marshall amplifier guy. So I am one of those people that am a tried and blue, a true and blue, whatever you want to call it, electric guitar player. Like I love acoustic, but man, like the reason that I do this with my life is because of fucking electricity. And I believe that the amp's really the true instrument, that the guitar is kind of like the steering wheel and the amp is the car. And that is how I grew up. That's how I was in my teenage years. And like, I will forever be, the most at home, in a super jacked, 5150, just all the way ice picks to the into the skies.
So you're power chords over cowboy chords, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I never really play cowboy chords. No, I mean, I just but the other side of that is you're super powerful, super clean. Mr. Tonic's going to beat me up for this one. Class A, Class AB, tube amps with a single coil with no pedals, just
Vince Gill style.
Yeah.
No Walsh style.
Yeah, that's just as ballsy, my friends.
Yeah, no doubt.
And just as it's more naked and more unforgiving, if you will.
Yeah. So you ever do that thing where you're like, I got to learn these licks completely clean, no overdrive, No extra jack. I gotta learn it completely clean. That's your style.
I learn everything clean.
Mm.
I don't. I'll go months without clicking the gain on.
Nice.
Months.
Yeah.
But then when I do, it's like the skies part and everything's amazing.
Right.
But no, I mean, like if I'm home, if I'm practicing, if I'm teaching, if I'm working a song out, if I do anything, I mean, just like touch a verb.
All right,
No,
so I
no
got
pedals. I own no pedals.
Really?
I
You
have no-
own no pedals?
I have no pedal board.
didn't I read that in that Daniel Donato show you just
Plugged in
plugged
direct.
straight direct, no amp, or you did?
No,
have an amp?
no. Dude, see. Okay,
I
so
read that and I was like, what?
dude, I know. So again, this is what I'm talking about. This is, I know he's half screwing with me, but then I also know he's not. Like it was flattering. Like he actually did not expect it to be an issue at all for me to come in, not know what song we're going to play, unrehearsed, play a B bender, which I've never played before, right? Plugged in direct to a solid state Fender Mustang off stage, no pedals, no tuner, no boost, no nothing, with just coming out of the monitors with a band I've never played with before for hundreds of people, and he's just known me from the internet.
It's crazy.
And you just crushed it, right?
We
Nailed
had them all, dude. We had
Yeah.
them all. We
Nailed
had them
it.
all. And like, so that was nuts. But like, he really wasn't screwing with me. He that's what he had. He knew it would be fine somehow without ever actually meeting me in person or hearing me play in person. You can watch all the videos you want. You see someone in person, that's who they are. Like the video is a video.
Right.
So anyway, I don't know where we were going with that, but yeah, that's all true.
I love it.
All right, I got one more question for you, then we're gonna let
Sure.
you go, okay? Because
Sure,
I
man.
know
Do
over
whatever
on
you
the
want.
East Coast out there, man, it's 3:00 in the morning.
No, it's 10:45, dude.
10:45. Bird ain't seen 10:45
Man,
since Oklahoma.
I got time. Whatever you want to do, man.
Well, I'll ask you this one, then we can keep going.
Let's find out what time we all got to be at work in the morning.
Yeah, I got to be at work.
Michael,
with these
you
little
go
12-year-old
first.
kids.
I mean, we all get up at dawn, man.
That's what I do every day. I get up at dawn, I eat 2 raw eggs.
Yeah, I mean, I got 4 boys that are all tiny and so it's
Full of energy.
Yeah, just battery packed.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
All right, what's one question you wish we would have asked you,
Oh God.
or
I
one
don't know.
topic you wish, or that you would love to talk about?
Oh man. Oh no. I'm gonna have to think about this. Well, I guess I want to hear how you work on your songwriting craft, and how you view it, and how finding these new types of songwriters and this whole thing, and finding all this stuff on YouTube is kind of impact how you work on your own stuff and what your process is like.
I'll take this one. All right, here we go.
You're a songwriter too. Hit it with it, Chuck.
I'll have to tell you when I start writing songs again, man. I'm playing songs from 10 years ago. Who knows?
Yeah.
So my process has always been the same. Like I always start with an idea. Like I have to have an idea of a story before I don't do music first. Mine's normally an idea of a story, and then it all kind of comes out. But one thing that I've been trying to do recently that has been super helpful is to, before I even put music to a song, I will write out the story like I was telling the song to somebody at a bar.
I love this.
And so, because, we told some stories earlier, and you've probably told those stories. You've probably told that wedding story before.
Yes.
And over time,
It gets better.
You've gotten better. You know which details to put in and which details to not put in because you watch.
I love this whole concept. Yes.
Yeah, you watch when people laugh or when people react.
Yeah.
And I've started trying to tell stories of songs to friends and doing the same thing as if I was just telling them a story and see what's interesting to them and see what part of the story where they're like, oh, or so I'm trying this new thing to where I have an idea for a song. I try to write the idea down. There may not be any music or anything, but I try to tell the song as a story to friends and get their reactions. And then I can kind of know where to go. Like this part seemed really interesting to them. Like let's lean on that. But that's
I love that.
It's hard though.
Hell yeah, it's hard.
It's really hard.
Mhm.
But that's what I've been trying to do.
And you got to tell the story a million times to refine it. That's the way
Yeah,
it
it's
works.
like so I know that Michael, that you in an interview, I think with Daniel Donato, that you talked about how the fitness genre was something that you model your business after.
Yes.
Well, the comedy genre is who I'm modeling my business after.
Go on.
And so new comedians, I feel like, are so much farther ahead of the curve with the internet than musicians are.
But also like more insightful philosophically, and they're like directly engaging through speech, whereas we're using a lot of times metaphor or some florid arrangements or whatever. Comedians, Burt and I talk about this all the time. Comedians are able to just shoot you point blank, flat out, and I love that about comedy.
Yeah, and music's. I think I mentioned in the interview. Music's always been years behind everything else that's trending.
Yeah,
it's always been that way.
But I'm trying to take notes from comedians to where they will workshop a set for a year or however long before they ever put it down on a special, right? So they'll go on tour for 6 months or 8 months and working out these ideas. Now I feel like me as a musician, I just spit out some ideas and I just kind of deal with it.
Yeah.
Like however it is. To where now I'm like, look, I'm doing this YouTube thing and music is something that I just want to do well. And if it doesn't work, that's fine. But I want to workshop songs and workshop ideas. And so I'm trying to learn from other genres of art to try to connect it to, because one thing that I find that I do myself a lot is I'll write something and I'll put it out there and then just see what everybody feels about it. And I'm trying to find other ways to workshop songs to people that aren't me playing them on the internet, but like that storytelling thing.
I love that, dude.
So how we can figure out how we can test out ideas without putting it out there, kind of like on a record, I don't feel like we have a middle ground a lot of times.
No, that's definitely true. And you're so right about comedians, the way they do that. I've gone through so many interviews of comedians where they're like, yeah, I saw so-and-so in the audience try to test out some new shit, see if they liked it. You know what I mean? It's part of the culture.
It's okay to bomb.
Yes.
It's okay to fail.
Yeah.
But then that takes them to something that's amazing.
Yeah.
To where like, I feel like I don't refine the fire enough to get it to where it's gold. I feel like I work hard enough to get it to where it's okay. I'm not such a talented songwriter where I'll just like in 5 minutes write a hit that everybody loves. Like I need to really work on it,
Yeah. Yeah. I love that storytelling thing, man. I'm going to remember that.
I got a question for you.
Hit me.
If you had to pick your modern day highwayman, the 2022 highwayman, who would they be?
Why don't we explain who the highwaymen are for people who may not?
For those of you who don't know who the highwaymen are, can we just like insert an earlier explanation, or we need to talk about it right now? Can we just edit this and post?
There's no editing. This is live, baby.
Say, hit me with the Johnny Cash.
All right, so the Highwaymen was a band. Period. All right, your answer. Go for it, sir.
All right. I mean, we've already named a lot of them, but it would definitely be Jason Isbell. I just there's no way you can't start with him.
We saw him live
You're
a
one
couple
for
weeks
one?
ago.
You're
and
one
it
for
was-
one right now. You're
Yeah,
one for
I'm
one?
one
All
for
right.
one.
All
Did
right.
you really? Just,
He
how
picked-
was
He picked Jason Isbell.
was
Yeah.
the band incredible?
It. What's the best way to put it? It was. So I feel like our major conversation afterwards was how different to a lot of shows that I've been to. Every single second of the show was super interesting.
Mhm,
The production of each song was super creative.
mhm.
They didn't just show up and play the songs. Like, you could tell they've been working out
Right.
these songs for a long time.
Mhm.
And it was from beginning to end, like, probably the best show I've ever seen.
Fucking knew you'd say that.
That's the thing, man. And they were doing it. They're doing
It's-
that thing where they were keeping the material fresh and enjoyable for them, and like the way their arrangements and their presentation of it was, without being too indulgent. So it was beautiful the whole time. It just like, I mean, just one thing flowed into the next. It was fantastic.
I feel like, Sadler Vaden's the producer, the guitar player, and I feel like it seems like Jason has allowed him to produce the live show, because there's so much production in the songs that weren't there 3 years ago.
Mhm.
Right.
All right, so you
Okay.
got Isbell. That's
So,
one.
so we got Isbell. You know, I
Oh, it's tough, right?
it is tough because
Zero prep.
it is tough. So I would.
I almost emailed you some of these questions.
No.
but I'll let you
I,
think
if
about
you would have did, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have answered. I would have said no. Don't send it to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so like when I think of the Highwaymen, like so like okay, so like so like Willie had that high voice, and like I'm trying to think of all the different harmonies, because it'd be so
Mhm.
easy to just say, okay, I want
Yeah, they got
Isbell, and I want Sturgill, and
Yeah.
Are you two
and
for two?
and I want
No.
Tyler, but then there's also a part of me that like, man, like we don't have someone super low. Like I kind of want a Coulter Wall. You
Ronnie
know?
Simpson sings pretty low.
Yeah,
Ronnie Simpson's
yeah,
a low
yeah.
singer. Ronnie Simpson is Sturgill Simpson's brother from an alternate multiverse. I won't get
Alternate
too
multiverse.
or from an alternate plane of the multiverse. I won't get too far
It's
into
Chuck's
it right
alter
now.
ego, or
But
his second alter ego.
I'm just saying Ronnie Simpson sing pretty low. Just he sing real low.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying.
I mean it's so hard to not include Stapleton just because the virtuosity of his voice.
Yep.
But
I feel like you got to pick 4 people that would work together.
see,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
that's
sitting here
important.
thinking, is that
No-
would work together.
You know who would fit really well in there is probably either Beck or Ronnie Simpson.
He gets so much shit for saying Beck. Like that. That was like the one thing that people lost there.
I picked
First off, he picked Beck as one of his 4, and he also picked himself. And he got more shit for picking Beck than he got for picking himself.
I would be lying to you if I said I wasn't a genius right now. Kanye was.
Jesus Christ. I don't see how you can't go with those 4. I don't know. I'd have to really
So
think
we
about
got-
it in
So we
terms of a
got
band.
Chris Stapleton, Jason Isbell, Tyler Childers, and Beck. That's your 4?
No, not Beck. Yeah, no, Jason Isbell, you have Sturgill. God, I just don't know how Tyler would blend with all of them. But yeah, I would probably have to go either Coulter or Tyler. You need a gravelier voice somewhere in there. I don't know. And I don't see how you can't have Stapleton. It's just so clean. It's just so clean.
That's a good point.
Pretty good. That's a pretty good 4.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good. This dude took the assignment seriously. So yeah. That makes 2 of y'all.
Yeah, I'd have to really think about
I'm
it.
just glad you didn't put yourself in it like somebody else I knew.
Chad Dan wants Billy Corgan in there.
Beck.
I'm just saying, man. Beck is the new Johnny Cash.
Oh
Check me
yes,
out.
someone threw in Jamie Johnson. He's low. Yeah, he
Yeah,
could
no doubt.
definitely do it. I mean, shit, dude, fucking Paul Cauthen could sing all those parts.
That's right. Thanks, Rich. I appreciate your support. Beck, for sure. I appreciate
And
that.
Molly
Tuttles.
Tuttle.
See, I would love to. I would
Yep.
love to have a female voice in there. You know, God damn it. God damn it. God damn it.
You know, the Howie folk. We could just call it the Howie folk.
Mm.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, you know, still for my money, I don't think I've ever heard a better vocal blend than Vince Gill and Alison Krauss.
Ooh.
It's about as good as it can be.
I used to always say I want to go rest high on that mountain to be my song sang at my funeral, and I'm thinking about changing.
Yeah,
but
What are
I
you gonna
still
change
haven't.
it to?
I haven't found anything that's beating it. Like Chuck's gonna go out to like Back in Black and all these.
No, I'm gonna
AC/DC
come into
songs.
Back in Black. I'm gonna go out to Highway to Hell. We
All right,
discussed
all
this
right.
multiple times.
All right. We'll wrap this up and put a bow on it. The same way you came in. Your assignment is Broke Down Palace.
Broke Down Palace.
Broke Down Palace.
That
There
is
it
your
is.
assignment. Broke
And
Down
your
Palace.
favorite song is?
My favorite song ever is probably Angel from Montgomery.
Okay. No, I'm talking about your favorite
Broke Down
Grateful
Palace.
Dead song.
I was like, holy shit, that's on Broke Down Palace?
No, it might be Broke Down Palace, but Broke Down Palace is a
the
song,
song of the
many people play for funerals. So the Broke Down Palace is your old body.
That's what I
Gotcha.
need.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
Yeah.
Well, man, thank you so much. I've been a fan of your channel for so long. You're literally who I stole the idea from to do what I do. So, I mean, I don't know if I need to pay you some royalties.
No, dude.
Although we don't make any money on YouTube anyways.
I know.
But it's been a pleasure to have you, man. Thank you so much for spending time with us.
Oh,
buddy.
dude, it's my pleasure. It's like we talked about before. We all are just thrilled about all of this, what's going on, and we all try to help each other, and it's a kind place. And at the end of the day, it's music, you know, and good people find good people, good music. It's kind of how it works. I mean, there's nothing but good stuff about it. So I'm happy to meet both of you, and thanks for inviting me, man. And if you want to do a Dale Watson
Come on
song, or what was the other one? Emmanuel, you want to be showing me one?
Yes, I'm telling
TK
y'all
and the
gotta
Holy
do
Know
that one.
Nothings. Come
TK,
on.
You
Okay.
gotta check out TK and the Holy Know Nothing.
All right. Well, we can either do it together on one of these, or you can send me one and I'll send you one, and we can link it in the descriptions or something. However you want to do it.
You're the big man on campus here, buddy. I will do whatever you want. You just tell
y'all
me what I
figure
need
this
to
stuff
do.
out through email. Why are y'all subjecting us to all this business talk? Serious.
I know.
Okay.
All right,
Deal.
buddy. We
Deal,
look
but I'm
forward
looking
to hearing
forward
your
to
new
it.
music too, man. I'm really excited about that.
Thanks, man. It's all going to happen.
All right. Have a good night, buddy.
All right.
Thank you.
Too. Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.
Yeah, y'all all right too. Y'all are okay. Palmisano's kind of a big deal, but y'all all right. Have a good night, everybody.